It is the question everybody's been talking about this morning. To online date or not to online date? Here to help break it down for us is Christina Hale, or Heil rather, author of 1+1 is Greater Than 2, the online dating guide for women over 50. Yeah, this is something I feel like, especially in this day and age, a lot of people are taking advantage of, which is wonderful. But there can be some things that maybe you need to be aware of, right? You need to be careful of?
Yes, absolutely. So first, over 39% of online, of couples are meeting online now.
Yeah.
So it is something that we all have to think about at a certain age if we want to meet the right fit partner. The things that you want to think about is this person who he says he is? And does he really live in my neighborhood if you're looking for someone regional? So I definitely have some tips to share with you on how to take care of that.
Please do. Let's get started because, and I think it's important to note that you've had your own personal experience with this. That's what led you to write the book.
Right. Yes, I'm a widow. So sadly, my husband passed away when I was 48. I moved to Houston, Texas from California. And I did start dating in my early 50s. I did have a career in technology, so I was kind of excited about trying the online app experience and dove right in.
But you found some things that worked, some things that didn't work, and maybe some hiccups along the way?
I did. So first of all, I want to say I took a methodical approach because I had heard stories about women who were meeting imposters or scammers or just not finding the right fit in a decent amount of time. So what I did was I started a spreadsheet, to be honest.
Okay.
I wanted to be very disciplined about how I approached this, and I was also curious about how many men it took to meet.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I did, and I think it's the biggest takeaway from my book, is I pushed to the phone and I limited texting because I'd heard so many stories, and I did some research for this book as well, women who were texting too long and ended up being connected with somebody who actually wasn't who he said he was.
Yeah.
So I'm a very big advocate of call him.
That phone.
Yeah, if his name is John Smith and you call him and he has an accent that doesn't correlate to a John Smith, there's a problem. The second thing I strongly advocate is meet in person as soon as you can. Somebody who says that they're not in town or that they're on some business trip indefinitely and you find that you can't get together within about 10 days, move on. Get back to the spreadsheet and hopefully there'll be somebody on the second and third row.
You also mentioned that because you were a widow, I have people in my life who are also widows. Is that something that you refrain from putting on a profile page about yourself? Or if it is or isn't, what other things too do you need to be careful of listing?
Good question. I'd never refrain from saying that I was a widow because I think it's important to portray yourself in a representative way. Certainly other people who have lost their spouse are going to feel an instant connection to you if you say that. What I do advocate is don't tell too many details around where you live or names of people, but do post at least 3 pictures. And the reason why you want to put 3 pictures on there, I found that people who were imposters, they usually only had 1 or 2 pictures. They were usually the most handsome man in a tuxedo. I'm an attorney by background, and often he was an attorney. So I found that if the men didn't have 3 or more pictures on, it was a problem, and as a consequence, I tried to put 3 pictures of myself on, a headshot, a full body shot, and some kind of lifestyle shot.
And sometimes you can tell, like, if it's a stock photo. I mean, but also, on the other hand of that, sometimes it's hard to tell. Sometimes they're very good at what they're doing and everything looks legit. But it may not be after all.
If the picture was fuzzy, the resolution wasn't good, I was suspicious. But I think at the end of the day, the big red flag for me was always if he couldn't meet me in person within about 10 days, it was off.
What else do we need to know? Because I know that you have a few other ones. You say paid sites are better than free sites as well, and maybe even invest in getting a professional photographer.
So I know we all like to experiment with free sites, and I certainly did. I met my sweetheart on a free site, but I always used a paid site as a baseline, and the reason is it has a higher threshold to entry. Somebody's taking out their credit card, they're making a 3 or 6 month commitment.
They're serious about it, right?
Right. So besides some of the people who I've just talked about, these imposters, and there aren't that many of them really, there are also some people who are married or already in a relationship and they're out there dating, and you want to eliminate those as well. So paid sites are a good threshold for you. The other thing I say is when you do meet somebody, make sure that you've pre-screen them on the phone, and then commit to 3 dates. So you don't have to go and tell them that you're open to seeing them 3 times. But I personally like elegant, understated men, and they don't always shine on the first date. So there isn't always...
Give them a second chance.
That's right.
I
That's
like the
right.
way you're... There's so much we could talk about. I know we have to wrap this up, but I thank you so much for your time. We'll put all the details about how to get your book. That way you can learn more, and then how you can contact her as well on social media. That'll be on indiestyle.tv. Christina, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Amber.
you so
Pleasure.
much. Okay, Tracy, Randy, on over to you.
I don't know how you go from elegant, understated men to me and Randy. That's a pretty hard turn there.
That's a big drop right there.
Yeah. Speak